Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WWE Know Your Role. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Victoria. This is your brother and sister of Providence.
Always.
Today's show is going to be a little different. It's not going to be a top 10 or us just random bullshit. Today we're going to do questions. Now, Ryan did questions. He did 5, and I did 5. Of course, mine are better, but we'll get into that later.
Doubt it.
We have 10 seconds to answer these questions. So, this is going to be a bit hard. So, if you think our answers are stupid, you sit down and do this with your friends because it's probably not as easy as you think it's going to be.
Yeah, 10 seconds on camera. Give us a little bit of break. I'm just trying to wing this, and we'll see how it goes, right?
I do hope it goes in my favor like everything. But
Doubt
before... He's just jealous. Now, before we start this video, we have a little bit of honorable mentions to do.
Gotcha.
And my number 1 honorable mention is this game. This is from our childhood. My mom had given this to my uncle when we'd kind of, grown out of, games that she thought, and gave it to our uncle, and he saved it for us for almost 20 years, and he gave it back to us this weekend, so we're really excited.
Yeah, and I also want to give one more shout out to my Aunt Deb, or our Aunt Debbie and Uncle John, for buying us the pay-per-views every time they came out and letting us watch and give us this knowledge. If it wasn't for them, we would not have this knowledge. So, not a quick, but a great shout out to them too.
Yeah. All right. So, who is going to be reading the questions is our wonderful cameraman. He's going to do the questions for us, and
Yes, he is.
Ryan is first, I believe.
Actually, what happened was me and the cameraman were talking, and
Never good.
we decided that a good rock paper scissors would be a great thing to whose questions read first. So because that's the way we solve things.
Everything in our life.
Everything is always rock paper scissors, and you never go against rock paper scissors.
Never.
So I thought a quick rock paper scissors would be the answer to this. And I also told him that a tie, since I came up with it, you win on the tie.
There is no tie.
So apparently I lost this one. She's lucky.
Number 1.
She was lucky.
Okay.
That's because I didn't pay for that. Okay, let's go.
Number 1. Who would you nickname the Botchmaster?
Botchmaster. John Cena. Have you seen John Cena's matches? If you actually watch WWE, actually watch it, John Cena botches so much stuff. It's crazy. I mean, I've seen, at least in every match, at least there's one botch in everything Cena does. But because Cena's so big and powerful and all of this, that a lot of people, especially because when you see when the crowd, let's go Cena.
Cena sucks.
Well, the only people that are saying let's go Cena are these, and I'm sorry, but are women and little kids, but wrestling fans. And now,
I'm a wrestling
yeah,
fan.
no, I know. I'm trying to be nice too, and I'm not saying all women by any means, not at all.
98%.
Exactly. I'm just saying. How about non-wrestling fan women?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
that's what I mean. So, and them and kids, but they don't see that fine technical stuff. And if you watch his matches, it's not very good.
Debauchery.
No, it is. It's not very good. There's so much wrong with the way he wrestles, and he just puts on a show. He's just a showman, and that would have to be that's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm actually pretty happy with what I said there.
That's good.
And I can go with that. So.
That's good. Mine's actually Sin Cara. I think Sin
Yeah, I
Cara
figured.
is the fucking botch master. It's what he's perfected. It's his art. The man broke his finger and we had to stop a match. Stone Cold broke his neck in a match and still finished the match. It wasn't the best looking match, but he finished it against Owen Hart. No, Sin Cara won't do that. He has to stop the match and probably get carted out on a stretcher. And he's injured a lot of wrestlers, so Sin Cara, you're my number 1, my botchmaster.
Now, if I had more time to think about it, I think I actually agree a little bit with her because at least Cena hasn't injured people like Sin Cara has. Sin Cara's injured a lot more wrestlers.
Sure.
A lot of wrestlers. And Yeah, I would say he's pretty much the bot. The
Yo,
botch
yeah,
master.
and we've
I
seen
mean,
him live, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just one botcha match. It's a couple. So, botch master, thank you.
He wins that. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's get him. Let's get
If
him.
you could choose, who would you have as the current WWE champ?
I would have Roman Reigns.
Why's that?
I think that he's a nice, fresh talent that they're building. So, I mean, they are grooming him to be number one. So, if you're gonna put it on anybody, might as well just put it on him.
Okay, and I actually agree with you a little bit. But see, I'm more looking at today. So I'm looking at the next Raw, the next pay-per-view
Sure.
kind of thing. So, and I'm kind of the same with you, but let's have let's have Dean Ambrose be our champ.
That's who I'm thinking.
And it's both from the Shield and but I just think he's deserved it. I mean, look what he's done, and I like how he's an angry guy. He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. He produces. People are excited to see him because he's kind of given that like you don't know what's going to happen next kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's really nice to have that now. Again, he's like, I don't want to say quite a Stone Cold or Rock, but he's the best thing currently that's kind of close to that. So that's why I have to pick him. And I think he deserves it. I mean, I think he's done a great job. And, I want people to go through the IC title, but obviously that has
That's another story.
Well, we discussed that before, and then it has to kind of build to get to there. But if you have to put it today, as of today, that's who I'd throw it on as of today because of
Agree.
injuries and other things. Because if it wasn't for injuries, I would have Daniel Bryan, obviously, or Roman Reigns besides
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
good answer, though.
Or Stephanie McMahon, you never know.
Shane McMahon. All right, next one, sir.
What is your favorite nickname?
You know what? I don't like him. I really don't like him, but the Apex Predator. That is an awesome nickname. The Apex Predator. I mean, that just embodies just so much. I mean, if you were going against a guy and you never met him, and they're like, all right, so I'm going against this guy named Randy Orton. And they're like, Randy Orton, okay, I'll go against him. And they're like, well, what's his nickname? And you go and go, he's called the Apex Predator. And you're like, oh, shit. That's what I look by for a nickname. It's like, the Apex Predator. That's mean. That's mean.
Now, but he also has another one, Legend Killer.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's another good one. But Apex Predator to me, that's just, to me, personally.
I agree. But I didn't choose that one. I like it, but I didn't choose it. Mine was the Cerebral Assassin.
Yeah.
Because that just sounds badass. Like the assassin or something. Triple H to it, and it's just so fitting for him and his character. So mine is Cerebral Assassin.
Remember, we only get a couple seconds into spitting off, but I still like what I picked.
Yeah,
I
sure.
still love it. Still love it.
Mine's still better.
Nah, you wish.
What's your favorite pay-per-view besides Mania, Rumble, or SummerSlam?
In Your House. I loved In Your House. I don't know. It's something maybe as a kid. I was just such a big In Your House fan. I love that pay-per-view. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
So, when I made that question, I had to take Mania out because Mania is the best.
Yeah,
it's the best. It's WrestleMania. It's the icon. It's all that. I mean, so I had to take Rumble out because I knew she'd say Rumble. Because I mean, Royal Rumble's the 30-man over the mat. I mean, that's great. And then SummerSlam, that's the other epic thing. So I was like, okay, I got those three out of the way. I know what mine is. It's In Your House.
Yeah.
And I tried to take away. I was like, well, maybe I'll just because I thought she might say that. I was like, well, I'll say Elimination Chamber or something, which is a great pay-per-view too. I like Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, In Your House, because In Your House was always just a good. It always had a great solid card. It was a great time in wrestling. and they just brought it to you every time. So, for
I
once,
know.
I'm just gonna have to agree with you.
I'm so good.
Look, I
I'm
gave
ready
you
for
an
the
easy
next one.
question.
Oh, whatever.
What is your favorite wrestling quote?
Oh, my favorite wrestling quote. I mean, for 10 seconds, I'm gonna just throw it. Austin 316 just said, "I whooped your ass," because it was the quote that started, in a way, of the Stone Cold era. Now, I mean, I could pick all these Rock quotes, which are phenomenal, and I think quote wise, I think it's almost Rock, and actually, if I had to switch it back up.
Of course.
I get a switch, right? I get a switch. I know it went over my 10 seconds, but it just boomed on me.
What?
It was back when it was. Now this is actually the beginning of you know when The Rock goes what's your name, and they start saying it doesn't matter what your name is. Now the first time he actually did this was just by himself in the ring, and he had a feud with Billy Gunn, and he starts saying stuff, and he's like. Oh, and Billy looked up and said, and said this, and God said, how did he go about that? He goes,
Bob?
oh yeah, thank you. He goes, Bob? He goes, but my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is. And that was the start of it, and it was just so great how The Rock did it.
Yeah.
Look that one up on YouTube. It's everywhere on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was like the founding, it doesn't matter what your name is. And that actually had to be the best quote. But Austin 316 just said, I whooped your ass. Another great quote, which started the whole Austin 316, which is obviously just a crazy big.
Mine's a little different. Mine's a little obscure, I think. It's actually Kurt Angle, one of your favorites. And he had Sensational Sherry come out, who was Shawn Michaels' original manager after he left Marty Jannetty and the Rockers. And he was kind of doing a Shawn Michaels ankle, and he was kind of mimicking Shawn Michaels' song, I'm Just a Sexy Boy. So he came up with, I'm just a sexy Kurt, and I make your ankle hurt. I don't know. It still makes me laugh to this day. Sometimes I just think about it randomly and start laughing to myself like a crazy
Just
person.
a sexy Kurt. I'll make your ankle hurt.
It's so good. It's good. It's good. It's true. It's damn
It's
true.
damn true.
All right. Another question.
What's your favorite Stone Cold non-wrestling moment or skit?
When he hugged Mr. McMahon and he had the dumbest fucking look on his face when he did it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah.
When he like pat him, he's like,
Okay.
like he looked all retarded.
See, now, I really liked when Stone Cold did that whole when he got kicked out got fired and stuff, and he came back to WWE. He kidnapped Vince and did that whole thing, and then the end of the show, he kind of the whole show they're showing him like kidnapping Vince and doing all the things. Which, I mean, the whole show you're just like, what? What are you gonna do next, Stone Cold? What? And it was crazy. And then all of a sudden, he takes him out in his wheelchair when he's in the wheelchair. Wheels his ass out there and then gets him on his knees and puts the gun to his head and then clicks it and goes bang 316 and Vince pisses himself. The best. I mean, that was my favorite.
Oh,
I mean, you could say the Zamboni because hockey fans.
Hockey fans all the way, and they're in which arena?
They were in Joe Louis Arena. I know.
I am a Detroit fan all the way. I just want to put it out there. My dog's even named after one of Detroit stars. Go Dusty.
Sir, we're ready for the next one.
Do I have something else to say?
I don't give a shit.
All right, we'll just skip it.
Who had the heavyweight belt that did not deserve it?
So many people.
I
Now, see, for me now, I thought
Okay, you missed.
No.
You missed your 10 seconds.
No,
up.
I already have the guy in the head. I'm trying to explain to him. I'll say the name real fast. Diesel.
Okay.
Now here's my reason why is I felt like at that time, like, they only were going for bigger guys. They're only trying to go with the traditional heavyweight. You got to be, like boxing and in UFC, heavyweights. They got to be big, weigh this much, and wrestling showed that it didn't need that kind of thing, and when Diesel won it, I thought Diesel was always really stiff in the ring.
I'll agree. He was very stiff, especially when he first started. He was very stiff.
Yeah, and I thought they just threw it. I thought he was one of those people that they threw it on him, because I didn't really like Hogan either. Call me whatever you want, but
Non-Hulkster.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I thought, he did actually deserves it because of what kind of a face he was. But Diesel as a heel, I didn't really like him as a heel either. I just thought he was kind of boring to me. His NWO stuff was all right. I thought everybody else kind of carried him, even though everybody else may disagree. But that was actually the one when I saw him get it. I really didn't like it.
All right. Mine's just around the same time. Mine was Yokozuna. I like.
That's what I was thinking too.
I like Yokozuna, but
I
just don't feel like he deserved the belt because he couldn't really work with everybody. He had to work with certain people like Bret Hart that could make him look good, or
Lex Luger.
Yeah, or The Undertaker too is another one that made him look good. Not saying he was a bad wrestler. It was just you can tell that he had a hard time wrestling with people not as skilled. Well, he could move. He can move for a big man. He could
bounced on the ropes and jumped on top of them. Big deal. He couldn't really fucking move.
I liked him though. I liked his gimmick and his persona, and he was such a big man that it was kind of cool to see him. But I don't think he deserved the belt at all. And the way he kept he won the belt, I just wasn't. It just wasn't my thing.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's a great call.
What is your favorite entrance of all time?
It has to be The Undertaker. People may disagree, but when you see that live, it's something so spectacular. How many times have you heard people say they get chills when they hear it and the lights go out? It's true, you do. And it is scary because all of a sudden you're the arena's so bright, and then all of a sudden the lights go totally out. And it's pitch black in there, and you can't see the person next to you, and you hear that dong.
I know,
dong.
and just real quick, it's when you're on TV, you're like, oh, you can see the next person next to you and all that. When you're at that arena, you can't see nothing.
Mm-mm. And it's
continue.
Yeah,
please. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they had the fog will start to roll out, and his music starts to play, and he walks so slow and gingerly down the aisle that it's so ominous, and to me it's my favorite.
No, and that's a great one. I'm sure almost everybody would agree with you. I like to go a little different, and I picked the New Age Outlaws. Now the reason I picked the New Age Outlaws was because of how they brought the fans into it. I thought, because when you start hearing that music go, oh, you didn't know, and everybody knows your ass didn't call,
Yeah.
So and then they go to the ring, and then they do their whole other, tag team champions of the world, you get all pumped up, and that's why I had to pick that one, because every time they came out and did that, no matter what, you were just ready to just go with them, and I know they didn't have all that spectacular thing like Undertaker, which is another great one. It could go either way. But for me, just because of the fan participation and being there at the arena when that happens, and you hear that music come out and you just want to just join in with it, and you could.
It was
cool.
True.
It was cool. It just really pumped me up. So.
Another one's Stone Cold. When you hear that glass break,
no.
The pop of it.
Honorable mention. When that glass broke, because when that glass broke, all hell was breaking loose.
Oh, sure. And there's another thing that when you see live, that the pop of the crowd is so deafening that it's like watching a Seahawk game.
Exactly.
All right, another question.
What is your favorite submission move?
My favorite submission move, the cross-face chicken wing. I thought Bob Backlund's cross-face chicken wing was... the way you have to perform it, it's just, it's something, not only is it a crazy move, but it's something that nobody else uses. It's on its own level. So, Because, I mean, everybody does things, you know, certain people do a lot of different moves and people do it better. You know, the spear and all these other ones and power bombs and stuff. And a lot of people, the crossface chicken wing, you don't see anybody use that. And the way Bob Backlund performed it and did it, and the way he sold it, that has to be my favorite.
You know what? That was actually mine, but since you picked it, I'll change mine up a bit. And the mandible claw, which seems silly, but here's the thing. My sister would put wrestling moves on us as kids. We would watch it and we'd see all these cool moves.
She
and,
sucks.
And she would hurt us. And she'd be like, well, I could do that. You guys want, a sharpshooter? And we'd be like, okay. And she would give us these moves, and the sharpshooter hurt like fucking shit. It is so fucking painful when you do that.
It hurts.
Oh, yeah. But the mandible claw, you stick it under, there's like these 2 pressure points in your mouth. That hurts like hell. No thank you. Wasn't a good idea. I don't want to play wrestling with my sister anymore because she always won. She's John Cena.
She is.
She's the John Cena
She is.
of the family.
Is that all our questions? Or we got
One more.
We have one more. Okay.
One more.
For me.
So I haven't.
What do you think is the number one thing currently wrong with the WWE?
Other than the writing staff,
Just one thing.
it's 3 hours long. Wrestling is 3 hours long. It shouldn't be 3 hours long. And now why I think this is that when you put it into 2 hours, right now they're stretching it. You can feel them stretching it. And it's a lot of talking and a lot of bullshit that I just don't need. When you put it into a 2-hour episode, it makes you like have like a cliffhanger, like, oh, what's going to happen next week? Because you don't have all that filler. You're not bored and you're not flicking anymore because you're like, I don't want to watch this. 2 hours, that's what it should be. That's what I wanted. That is what's wrong.
And I kind of agree on the 2-hour thing because they 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think it was 2, but they had a 3-hour show, and if you actually count it up, they had 40 minutes of wrestling, of 3 hours. 3 hours, 40 minutes of wrestling. Now, back in the day, they could have gotten away with an episode of that because they had all that Stone Cold, The Rock, and all the back and all this stuff that intrigued us, and it's like, okay, we can get by with, but we're still watching wrestling, right?
Yep.
But my thing actually is like the biggest problem with them is obviously number one, they're too predictable. They're just way too predictable. There's no surprises. There's nothing that like I'm like, I did not see that coming. That's crazy. No, it's just like, saw that coming. Every time it's like, oh yeah, he just interrupted the match. Of course.
Yeah,
Of course he did.
I agree.
Or he just did that. Oh yeah. Or it's Raw, and the belt's on the line. Oh, he's not gonna lose the belt on Raw because it's Raw. They don't do that anymore. And what happens? They don't lose the belt on Raw. I mean, the other team can win, but they can only win by disqualification. So the belts so the titles don't change. So you're just like, nah.
Yeah, I agree.
So it gets boring. And that's my thing. It's like they always have the surprise before you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, now they don't. Now it's just, But that's it.
That's what we got. I mean, that's what we got for you this week. Just spatting off random things. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, because it's what keeps us going and it, gets us, out there and having fun.
Exactly. Love talking to you about wrestling. See you guys next week. Have a good one.